Welcome to my talk for Collab365 Global Conference. I'm Jeffrey Travis. I'm currently consulting at WorldPay. We do have an office over in the UK, so I hope to get over the pond sometime and maybe meet some of the guys from Collabris face to face. For 10 years, I've been working and supporting SharePoint. A lot of that was as a product manager, but I was always told I knew too much. But when I tell people that, I tell them I know too much out of the box SharePoint, and code is a four-letter word. So I try to show things more for what the business users can do with it. I've presided over 7 SharePoint upgrades, so 2003, 2007, 2010, 2013. So a lot of times when I'm doing things in there, I'm trying to remember what version am I in and where did they hide it this time, because you know how they've changed and moved the gear from the left side to the right side and back. I am a 5-time, that's including this one, speaker with Collabris and for the Collab365 and SP Biz, SP24, and the different talks. So getting to really like this, it's a fun time. Here's my email address if you ever wanted to hit me up with some questions. My Twitter, which I don't use a whole lot, and there's my LinkedIn. That's a good way to connect with me. But my talk today, I'm going away from what I normally do. Usually it's on the efficiencies of SharePoint and how to make sure your content's efficient and your people are working efficiently. Now it was time, after all those years of using SharePoint, to come up and just show some of the SharePoint tips I've picked up over the years. Some that just recently, and I was surprised I had not been using them prior. But I've kind of named this one. I did not know out of the box SharePoint could do that. So again, this is not for the developer types. This is for anybody, especially anybody, Excel jockeys, anybody who really likes Excel. You'll find that you can do some things in SharePoint. So I'm going to roll down here, and instead of using PowerPoint, I just figured I'd throw this into Word to show you what I'll go over today. So just going to show site columns, something that for the longest time never used, but they're already out there aching to be used. I will show column validation, so how you can validate stuff just in one column, and then go on to list validation, where you can actually compare information back and forth between different columns within a list. I'm going to show a calculated field. Now this isn't training. I'm just going to show you some stuff that I have out there, and I will tell you that Bing/Google is your friend when you're doing a lot of this, and you can actually crank open Excel and do some stuff in there and try to figure out your formulas. So I'm going to go over some calculated fields. I'm going to show you just some views and things you can do with views. I mean, it's amazing that some of the stuff in there, like the styles, I never even clicked the buttons. I was old school, and that's all I went with. Something I learned with the people picker recently on being able to set the proper information about who can see what there, and this can kind of help you. And then also what limited access is, which is something you'll see out there, and everybody's like, what's limited access? What can I do with that? So just kind of go over that, and then show this no checked in version. That's one of those ones, it's that aha moment when people are, where's the content? So we'll go over that. So those are the 8 things. That should take me up to the allotted time frame that I need to go over for this. So let me move this out of the way and have it where I can refer to it. But we'll go in. Now I have already built out here what Microsoft would call an app. I called it Help Desk because it had a lot of the things I wanted to show. So if you think about help desk tickets and stuff like that, you have a lot of information that needs to be put in, and with what I was going to show, this really played well to it. So kind of like when you watch cooking shows, things are already cooked. You know, within 5 minutes, there's no way they can turn around a roast that needs to be in for an hour and a half. So I've gone out and actually taken my list and I've built some stuff, but we'll go over and I'll show the finer points at that point. So notice I have branded my site with the Collab365 logo up here in the left hand. But so under the help desk, we're going to go in and show site columns. So if you needed to create a column for a list and you went in, and let's get behind the scenes here. So So I need to go in and go to list settings, and I was going to create a list. Well, I'll tell you right here, business phone is the one I selected. It's already there. SharePoint has a huge list of a whole bunch of columns that are already there. So instead of going in and just creating a new column and saying business phone, which it's probably not going to let you do that anyways if you match it up properly to how you spell it here, it's not going to let you do it. But go and just pick, and when you say, and let's scroll down a little further, add from its existing site columns. Just click there and you will see all the different options you get. And you can still go in and configure them any other ways you want once you pull them in, but when you see here, just a bunch of different fields that are already there as site columns. And I, for years, just ignored these. They were the red-headed stepchild. And they're here. Use them, especially for things like phone numbers. And I'm going to tell you when we get into some of the validation stuff that I'm going to have some validation on there for just a US phone number. So it won't work elsewhere, but on 10-digit dialing it will work. So I was able to take this field and do some more with it. And you see right there, it actually allows you to add it right to the default view, just like you're adding any other column within SharePoint. So it's I don't know why for all those years I ignored it, but they're there, and you see that you have just a whole bunch of different ones. So somebody at SharePoint thought this through, and a lot of us are ignoring it and not using it. So that's site columns, just letting you know they're out there, and again, if they're there, use them. So let's go on to column validation, and this is being able to validate information just within the column itself. So if I go in, what I'm going to tell you is you probably want to do this. Now, I didn't make these required fields, but you'll find out that if you do put some validation in there, it's going to hold people to put that info in. So if they leave it blank, they're going to get popped with a message that's put out there. But let's go into business phone here. And you'll see here that I put a description in, please input your phone number in the following format. And it's 10-digit dialing. It's not that way everywhere in the US, but I'm in Atlanta, and for many years now, because of the bloat, and I'm one of them that caused it 22 years ago by moving down here, there's a lot of people, ran out of phone numbers, ran out of zip codes, so they keep creating more, so we have to do 10-digit dialing. So if you look in here, you go down and you're going to validate this column. Now this looks like a bunch of gibberish, and I didn't write this. I did find this out there on the web, but that's the beautiful thing, is you can go find these things, and then all you have to do is be able to drop in, and you see here business phone. I was able to put it between the brackets, because there is a space in there, and you'll learn that whenever you're doing things where they're doing formulas or anything within SharePoint. If it does have a space in the name, you pretty much have to put the brackets around it. But I was able to pull this in, and then I'm actually able to put a user message here too. So if somebody goes to type something in and it does not match what we're looking for, which is what we've told them here, then it's going to pop this message up to them and show it in red, and then they're going to have to go fix it. And it's not going to accept the item until they actually put it in properly. So it's good. I like this. This was something years ago. I sat there and said, I don't know why they don't just have that out of the box where you can pick, like business phone. But again, Microsoft is a worldwide company, and SharePoint's used worldwide, but it would be nice if they had different ways of putting in the validation. If you sat there and said, I'm looking to just do 10-digit dialing. Well, here it is. So since it's not there, I'm bringing it to you. And later, when I get ready to go put in and input some information, you'll see how this can actually work. I'll come back and then just do that within the demo. And I forgot to mention that this is essentially, it's live for me right now. It won't be for you when you watch it. But, connected to the internet, anything can happen here. The internet goes down, so I'm living on the edge today with doing a pseudo live demo. So I'm going to clear back out of here and go on back to my next one's going to be list validation. So again, this one was just in the column. I can't compare anything here to other columns within the list. So that's where list validation comes in. So let's jump back to here, go to here. and you'll see that you have validation settings here within your settings of the list, and that's where you can go in and start to take some of the columns and compare them against each other. Now what this one is doing is it's looking for if your status becomes closed, it wants to make sure that somebody puts a close date in. Now you could do workflow behind the scenes and say, okay, when this goes to close, put today's date in there and everything like that. Again, I've told you this is all out of the box SharePoint functionality. You don't have to crank open SharePoint Designer or do anything magical in there. You can do it all right here. And I mean, this is quick. Just being able to drop this in. So it says it's looking for if the status is closed. And once that is, then it has to make sure that the close date is not empty. So they have to put a close date in. So it forces it, and you're able to put a user message in here. Now, business types, this is stuff you can go home and brag to your kids about, that you know, you can pretty much say you're coding, but you're not. You know, you're dropping a formula in, but you're able to pop a message to people. I mean, this is stuff, this is like hello world stuff from back in the 80s when people were first starting to really do some development and popping up questions and telling people, hey, that's not good information. You're doing that, but you're doing it within a browser. And this is nothing special. I mean, if you know Excel, you can Excel right here. It's good stuff. I mean, you're able to insert columns just by clicking on them here, which I suggest doing it that way, because if you use them from here, you're sure that so I'll just double click on one of these. You see that it actually puts it over there, and it does put the brackets around it. So you just ensure that the format is proper for your fields when you're doing this. So let me cancel back out. And actually there is something here too. Learn more about proper syntax for formulas. I'd say, you know, go into this and take a look when you're doing it, because it tells you a lot about how to go about laying out your formulas. So use your help that's built in, and there's other sites out there I've gone to, and again, you're going to find a lot of these things already done. I mean, I'm not one to recreate the wheel. If it's already out there, I'm going to borrow it from somebody. Some say it's stealing. I say it's borrowing. I don't know that you can copyright a formula. So that's your list validation, and again, it was looking at a close date. So if somebody was to go in and change the status on the ticket, it was going to make sure that there was a close date put in there. Let's move on now to some views. I've created some different views here. This is your basic out of the box, you know, definitely looks columns and rows, and it's all there. So oddly, when you go in, let me bring up here. When you go to create views, I'm just going to modify a view. And when you scroll down, there's things here that I never really looked into. Definitely used sorting, used filtering, didn't do tabular view. Group by did a lot. Totals, I've worked a little bit. Style, always just ignored it. Had no real clue about these. Never took a peek, and then finally did and realized that based on what your content is, there may be a better way to show your content to people. So I'll go back, and I've actually already created some of these views based upon what I have in the list. So let me jump back out to the list, and you'll see I've got one here boxed. So total different view there, but it's showing, you know, all the different help desk tickets here. Now I didn't filter anything out. You can still filter from up top here though, if you wanted to just see the open tickets or the closed tickets. Let's go to the closed ones. There's only one, so it shows you right there. Those are your closed tickets. Just again, a different way to show some information. That's the one thing I did realize though, is when you go in, you lose the ability to jump around to different ones. It kind of gets rid of all of this when you're using those different views. But let's now click on the ellipsis. Let's go take a look at the newsletter view here, which is a little bit different, and it may be tough to see. It's kind of put some little lines around here, thin, kind of around, nothing special, not my favorite. let's see what else we have here. Did I do shaded? Let's do the preview one, and then I think I can do shaded. I may have done that on a different one. This one's a little bit different. This one you have to mouse over here on the left, and as you mouse over it, it's showing stuff. This works well. I saw it with like a contact list, so it might have people's names over here, and then as you hover over, it starts showing their information over here. That was the usage pattern of it when I saw it and was doing some more research on why or how you would use this one. I'm thinking, let's see here. Let's go into the My Tickets one. Oh, I didn't do it there, but I'm going to show you something else about this too. Let's see here. Go back to the help desk. Let's go create one real quick. Really living on the edge, so we'll go out here, we'll create a view, base it on the all items. We'll call it shaded. Scroll down. Didn't expect to go this live on it. And we'll pick shaded. See what it does. There we go. So every other line, it's giving a little bit of background shade. Not to be confused with throwing shade, which, you know, there's a whole different meaning to that. This is actually good shade, so it's breaking up and your various rows so you can read them a little bit better. Let's go back to our original one here. Now you'll see that I do have an assigned to area over here. And actually, I'm the only user in here, and I'm listed as the Academy Director because I'm doing this off one of the baseball sites I use. So that's my login is that. So I'm both the person who opens the ticket and it gets assigned to. But what I've set up in here is an alert, but I'm doing it based off of this My Tickets. So if somebody goes to set an alert up on here, there's different ways you can go in and say what you want to know. When do you want to alert me? So let's actually go in and look at it. But by doing it on one of the ones where you're using the special My, so it's looking or equal to me, not my, but I always call it the My view. You see here, if you go into set one, when someone changes an item that appears in the following view, My Tickets, then you're going to send an alert to somebody and it can go immediately, daily, weekly. So I've already set the view up looking for when something gets assigned to me. And it's not just that it's just, yeah, so that's what the view is right there. Let's go into My Tickets. Let's go to the list. Let's look at the view actually. So when I go in here, I'm actually looking on a filter where things are assigned to me with the brackets, which it's one of those special ones here where, you know, SharePoint knows who you are and it knows what day it is, so you can use those within your filters. So, and this works for anybody. That's the thing, is I don't have to go in here and set a different view for everybody. I can just use the one that says when it's equal to me. So when something gets assigned to somebody, and then they can go set up their own alert and using this same view say, hey, send me an email. So I didn't need to build a workflow to sit there and say send an alert to somebody. I just tell people, you want to know when something hits that list, you can go and set your own alert for it. So it kind of is controlled by them. Now if you have high enough access privileges, you can go and set them yourselves on people. I've been known to do that on Teams when I'm sitting there going, you guys aren't really paying attention to what's going on in this list. So then I went and set up the alerts. Plus I wanted them, you know, we were the SharePoint team at that position, so I wanted them to, quote, be dog fooding using our own product. So kind of forced them into it. Now I'm going to go in here and actually assign one to me. And let's go to, that one's already assigned to me. Let's go here. I'm going to edit this one and assign to, and I am the Academy Director, and I hit save. Now obviously right now you don't see that anything happened. Anything is happening. Let's see what we can do here. At some point the email will come in and I'll be able to show it. Maybe I'll pull it up on my phone and see when it comes in. I'll just hold the screen up. Let's go in. It takes a second here too. It's not the fastest thing to send it, even though it says automatically. So I'll check back and I'll prove that it actually worked, that the view and the alert worked hand in hand to do what it was supposed to do. And something else in here. Oh, views. Okay. Oh, that's what it was. The alerts. Alerts can be up. There it is. I think it just came in. But an alert doesn't have to be just on a list. You can do it on a specific item as well. So if you were to go in here and say you had one document that was up to you, or something that was assigned to you, you could go in there and just set your view. Oh, that's saying on the list again. Oh, my bad. But you can set a view, alert me right here, and do the same thing. So you set up your alert just on that specific item within that list. So it could be a document, or it could just be an item in a normal list. So where do we go next? The people picker. So again, I have this set up so the assigned to can go and be picked from a list. Let me go show that right now. Let's go in, jump down here, and the assigned to can only be pulled from, oh, I've got it set to all users. Thought I had that one set up so it was pulling from a group. But what'll happen is when you go in to an actual group, actually let me jump back out and we'll go show where this is. So when you're pulling from a group, those groups actually have, and let's go into, I thought I had it set to this one right here, but we'll go into the members one here, and you have a setting in here, who can view the membership of this group. Group members are everyone. Well, if you're going to allow people to be able to pick from a pick list, it has to be set that they have to be able to view that membership. So it needs to be set to everyone. I just, after all those years of working with it, I guess we were always defaulting to everyone, so I never had the problem. But, and I was also the group owner, so I wasn't having a problem with it, and I had created something for somebody, and they're like, I can't pick anybody. It would not let them go into the people picker, and it was one of those aha moments, probably a quick search, and I went and checked, and it was actually set so only the people, only the group members could do that, but it needed to be everybody. So hopefully I'm not confusing you with that, but this is one of those things where you kind of lock it away in the back of your brain in case you ever see it again. You go, that's right, that SharePoint guy that talked at that thing back in the day did mention something about this. And you know, all you got to do is come in, set it to everyone, and click OK, and then they're going to be able to actually choose people from that list. It was, again, just one of those odd aha moments. Surprisingly, had never seen it before. So that was one I wanted to put in there. Then you have limited access. When you grant access rights within SharePoint, normally you're looking at reader, contributor, or edit, or owner. I mean, your basic 3 out of the box. But if for some reason, way down in your site, you need to grant access to somebody within either a list or a document or something like that, but you're not granting them access at higher levels, either at the site or the parent site or whatever, up at the parent level, it will go in and show limited access. So you know that somebody has some rights somewhere within, and it needs to grant it to them so they can actually navigate their way into it. So that's where the limited access, because I've had a lot of people actually ask about that when they're like, what is this? Why is that there? So, and excuse me if you hear the helicopter outside. It was finally a beautiful day out, probably in the 60s here in Atlanta, and it was worth leaving the door open, and then of course the helicopter comes by. It happens. It's part of that live demo, living on the edge thing. So let's take a look. Where else can we look here? So no checked in version. Again, this is another one of those ones that floats out there where you have people and they're working at your company, and maybe they're working on documents for a long time, but they've never checked them in, and then they leave the company, and you wonder, well, where's all that work that Jim had been doing? And it's out there, just nobody can see it because he's never checked it in. So let me go up. I'm going to go into an actual documents library here, and if you have the proper access rights, you can get in here and you'll see this: manage files which have no checked in version. So if somebody's been working on stuff, or let's say maybe they don't leave the company, they go out on maternity leave or they're sick or something like that, but they had files out there that they started working on, never checked them in, they're not going to be seen by anybody else, no matter how high your access levels are, unless you come here, and this will show you the checked out files. And what will happen is you'll be able to check on them and take ownership of them. So you'll see the files, and you've got the button up here. If there's a whole bunch of them, you can click it, grab them all, and then take ownership of them, and then you get to go and check them in or do whatever you need to do with them. But again, this is one of those ones where you just need to put it in the back of your brain and know when people are, where are the files? Where are so-and-so's files? Just remember that this is there, the checked out files, that there are no checked out. Get back into it again. It was in the library, and it was in the library settings, and again, it's just kind of in this nondescript area here that you never look at, so you kind of ignore it. But manage files which have no checked in version, and you can take control of things. Now I guess I talked a little faster, I got done quicker. I was going to go through some other things. I think we can do that too. I don't know if everybody knows about RSS settings. So on any of these, you can actually take a feed of information that's in a list, and it'll kick it out to you, and then you can use that. You can actually put this into Outlook. Now I can't show it to you because I don't even have Outlook loaded on this machine, but you can take that, and again, there is that ability between Outlook and SharePoint to play back and forth. And I would have liked to have shown you a little bit more of that here, but not having Outlook loaded on the machine to be able to do it, because I just do it all in the browser with Mail. But you're able to actually open calendars and look at them when you're in your Outlook, so you can see your SharePoint calendars. You can do it with tasks. You can set up the RSS feed so you can see information there. So there is other collaborative things you can do between those two tools, and be able to work a little bit better, faster, quicker, and not always have to jump into one or the other to be able to see information. I'm looking back on my list of tips and things, and I'm always up for people pointing out anything else they may have stumbled into over the years where it's been, hey, this has been a pain in my butt, and I finally realized what was going on. Oh, I forgot. We were going to go back into Mail. Let's see if it came through here. Oh, look, there's John Manderville. I got his name. I think I need to undo him on the search so I can see what's coming in today. Check on my phone quickly too, see if it came through on that. Man, my alerts taking too much time, but just trust me that using, oh, nope, did not come through yet, but I'll blame that on the system. That's what happens when you get SharePoint for about, oh wait, that's a free site. So that could be what's going on there. It might be on virtuals and such, so nothing's going real fast. But I appreciate you guys coming and listening to my presentation, and I really like doing these for the guys at Collab365. My only thing is I wish I had an open crowd behind me, so I was presenting and you get some feedback, but it just can't always have it that way. But you guys have a good go with the rest of the conference.